Hello, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm going to be your host for this evening. I am so glad that you decided to join because we are going to talk about how you can still get grants, yes, as a Black-owned organization or Black-led nonprofit. So, as you come in, say hello to me. Let me know where you are coming in from. I'm in Ohio. And give that city and that state a shout out as you come in. Give that city and that state a shout out. Let me know where you are coming in from. Yes, yes, yes. Who do we have with us today? Tamika. Tamika's coming in from Texas. And uh-oh, I'm getting ready to butcher her name. Is it Latanya or Latanya? How do you pronounce that J? Latanya or Latanya? From Louisiana. Latanja, Latanja from Louisiana. And Jessica from Nashville. Welcome, Jessica. And our friend Carolyn is back with us tonight. And hello, Brianna from Trenton, New Jersey. And Katrina from Florida. Oh, and Laura, Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Okay, now I used to live in Pennsylvania. I thought I knew just about all of the different areas in Pennsylvania. I was there for 10 years. You've got to tell me where Boiling Springs is located. Carlisle, I still don't know. Like, are you on west or east? East side of Pennsylvania. I was near Philadelphia, about 30 miles west in historical Valley Forge. So let me know. I have never heard of Boilings. You're near Harrisburg. I know exactly where you are. All right. Michelle is coming in from North Carolina, and Latoya from Indianapolis, our neighbors right to the west, right? And Dr. Karen is coming in. Let me know where you're coming in from, Dr. Karen. And who else do we have here? Demetra from Louisiana and Lakeisha from Texas. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad that you decided to hop on because what I'm going to share with you, you probably haven't heard before. So I have to get a promise from you. It is going to be so important that you share this information. Look, we are in a community, so it's very important that you share what you're going to hear tonight with other minority organizations, Black-owned organizations, Black-led nonprofits. Share this information because, again, a lot of what you will hear tonight, you probably have not heard before. So I am Linda Peavy. I'm going to be your host. And we're going to get started because I do have a lot of information to share with you. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and we are going to be ready to go. All right. There we go. There we go. Let me share my screen. It's coming up. You all should be able to see my screen now. All right. So this is grant writing for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. This is my master class. And let me formally introduce myself. There we go. First of all, this is my live 7 o'clock session. We were on at noon. Oh my gosh, we stayed late. We had so many great questions, and I know we're going to have a good time tonight as well. So let me just introduce myself formally. Yes, they call me the Grants Queen. I'm Linda Peavy. I own LaPav Consulting. I have owned LaPav Consulting. This is the 17th year of me owning LaPav. This is the 17th year of me being in the grant industry. I have been a professional grant writer for 16 years, and now I teach, I instruct grant writing across the country to many organizations, some of your smaller nonprofits, to some of your major organizations like the Urban League and the National Association of Women Business Owners and Jumpstart and Goldman Sachs, where I am a proud alumnus of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. I am also a member of Forbes Black, which is an organization of Black leaders affiliated with Forbes magazine. My undergrad and graduate degrees are from the University of Akron. Go Zips, go Zips. And yes, I have a business, but I used to lead a nonprofit. So let me know who is here with me today. Let me know in the chat. Are you a small business, meaning you could be a sole proprietor or an LLC or a partnership or an S corp? Or are you a nonprofit? Or maybe you are both, because I am finding that a lot of small businesses are starting nonprofit arms, right? Which is really smart. It means you are broadening your avenues for securing grant funding. So let me know, nonprofit, small business, or both. All right, let me know who is here with me today. Small biz, nonprofit, both. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. Let me just say to all of you, you are in the right place because, yes, there are grants for both. Yes, there are grants for small businesses and there are grants for nonprofits as well. And we will talk about grants for both of those entities as we move along. All right. Now, let me tell you how I got in this space. Now, first of all, I like to keep things real, just so you know, as we move through, I like to keep things real. And we're all family tonight, right? Yes, yes, yes. So let me say, I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania. I was there for 10 years. I used to travel the world. It was a fantastic job. And then the bottom fell out. I got hurt. I had to literally move from Pennsylvania, put everything I owned in a storage facility in Cleveland, Ohio, and moved in with my sister. Literally came home in a wheelchair, couldn't stand for any length of time. And that's where I was for 4 years. It took me 2 years just to be able to work again. So when I tell you, I know how it is to start from zero. I think I started from sub-zero because I needed to heal first. And when I did get better, after the 2 years I'm in Cleveland, I couldn't find a job. My experience was in professional publishing in Pennsylvania. And if you know anything about Cleveland, you know it is not like the publishing mecca of the United States. And so I started my own company. That's when I started Lepov Consulting. Haven't looked back. It's been 17 years. Well, one of my first contracted positions was to be the executive director of a nonprofit. Now, again, we're all family. I don't think I was in that position for 2 weeks before I was called into the board of directors office and told that I had to write a grant that would pay for my salary. Now, you know that there are times when people who look like us are called in to do what? To save the day, to save the program, sometimes to save the entire organization. So if you know what I mean, give me a yes in the chat. Well, I had never seen a grant before. I had zero knowledge of grants. And now I'm being asked to write one to save my job, thus save the organization. But you know what? Oh, I'm seeing some yeses. Oh, I'm seeing some yeses with a whole lot of exclamation points behind them. You know what I'm talking about, people. But you know what? I did it. I did it. I wrote that grant. I won that grant. It paid for my salary for an entire year. So I'm here to tell all of you that you can only write, you can secure, you can win grants with zero experience. There is a process to winning grants. That is what I've learned after having won over $18 million in grant funding. Well, there's a process, and that is part of what I am going to share with you tonight because this is the important part, right? You can do this, but there's a process to it. This is something else I learned. I learned that you can use grant money to help support your organization. Look, this is year 17 for me, right? In this industry, I hear from you. I know that you are tired of using your own money to fund your organization, whether it's your nonprofit or your small business. You are tired of wearing all 20 hats in your organization. You can use grant funding to pay for support, to pay for help, right? To pay for staff. Those are just some of the avenues for which you can use grant money for. And we're going to talk about a lot more about what some of those ways and different expenses that you will want to know how you go about using grant funding. And at the end of the day, people, why not? Why not use someone else's money to fund your organization? Because at the end of the day, keep this in mind, you don't pay grants back. You don't pay grants back. All right. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. All right. All right. Let's get going. Now, what will we talk about? I'm going to give you an update on what is going on with grants, and you will need to understand what is going on with grants. Also, how do you prepare? A grant. How do you prepare? Trying to get my this phone is acting crazy. How do you prepare for grants, right? This is a mistake that too many organizations make. They look at the grant application, they complete it, they send it off, and they wonder why they get a rejection letter. All right. What do you write in the application? How do you write the application? And how do you get notice in a sea of applications? And then I'm going to show you how to conduct grant research so that you are able to find the organizations that want to fund you. And then I have a bonus surprise for you. And then we're going to do a Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, this is not the time to be shy, right? You have the opportunity to ask a grants expert your grant questions. So please, as we move along, drop them in either the Q&A box or the webinar chat, either one. Q&A box or webinar chat. All right, let's get ready to go. Now, why are we here? We are here because we as Black-led organizations need access to funding. And guess what? It shouldn't always be about loans. Like, are you as tired as I am of hearing about loans? There's grant funding available. And here's what I want you to know. You can do this. You can write grants. Grant writing is not what it used to be. You're not writing some 100-page document over the course of 3 months. That's what I used to do as a professional grant writer. A lot of the grants now are 3, 4, 5 pages. Why? Because foundations no longer have the staff to sit and sort through and read and review 100 and 200-page documents. But what you must know is that there's a process to winning. And that's what I've learned after having won over $18 million. There's a process to winning. And guess what? It's not all about what you put in the application. And that is what you'll learn tonight. All right, we ready to go? We ready to go. Now, what is happening with grants? This is critical for you to know. Yes, the federal government has cut grants. Yes, they rescinded grants. Yes, they have frozen grants. But guess what? Federal grants do not equal all grants. Grants come from thousands of resources, from private foundations, community foundations, family foundations, corporate foundations. And yes, they give to nonprofits as well as small businesses. So that means you're covered, right? So this is what is so critical. We're not just looking at federal grants. There's billions of dollars in grant money available from these non-federal resources, billions of dollars. All right. And there's two opportunities that are happening right now as we speak. You know, sometimes you have to make lemonade out of lemons, right? There is misinformation spreading out there in the grant world that there are no grants available because of the federal grant cuts. And guess what's happening? There are fewer people applying for grants. That means a little less competition. That means you are going to swoop in and start applying for more grants. Number two, and this is what is amazing, your local community foundations, corporate foundations, family foundations, private foundations are literally increasing the amount of their grants because they're trying to fill in the gaps caused by the federal grant cuts. Just because the federal government cut grants does not mean the need went away. The need is as great as ever for your programming and your services. So that means you're going to have to look inward, look local first, because that's where the money is. All right. All right. Now, here's the great news. Not only are these non-federal entities stepping in and increasing their grant funding, your state and local governments are continuing to provide grants. Not all state and local governments receive their grant funding from the federal government. A lot of these entities, they produce their own funding. They raise their own funding and revenue. Just last month, I heard about a $30 million grant from the state of Ohio and a $20 million grant from the state of Michigan. So don't miss out on this funding. And yes, did you know that your city government, yes, has grant money? They like to keep it on the down low, but now that you know, right? Local, county, state. Do not overlook those funding opportunities. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know, right, that it includes all minorities, women of any ethnicity, veterans, the disabled. And here's what's happening. Now, look, we know that the federal government has cut DEI. We know this. We know they're putting pressure on other organizations to cut their DEI funding. But guess what? A lot of these foundations, this is who they serve, right? This is who they fund. These populations is where they give their grant funding. So what are they going to do, right? Because these are their target populations. I'll tell you what they're doing, and this is how you are still going to get grant money, even though DEI has been cut. They're tweaking the language. They're tweaking the language. So they're taking out terms like Black, right, and women, and they're putting in the condition or the issue that they're trying to address. And this is exactly what you're going to do. I'm going to show you how. All right. We call it quiet DEI in the grant world, where you are replacing the ethnicity and the gender with the condition or the barrier that you're trying to address. Let me show you exactly what you're going to do. Let's say you have a program that offers youth development opportunities for Black boys. That's who you serve. You don't stop serving Black boys, right? You tweak the language. So now instead of saying our program offers youth development opportunities for Black boys, you're going to say we provide youth development for what? Historically underserved and underrepresented boys. We took out the term Black, we put in the condition. Underserved, underrepresented, we know what that means. Or serving boys disproportionately impacted by economic and educational inequities, right? The same for women. Let's say you serve women. Let's say you have a program where you provide employment and career coaching for women, right? You don't stop serving women. There may be situations where you may have to tweak that language. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time because there are still foundations that proudly say they fund DEI and they fund women, but others are needing to tweak that language because of the pressure coming from the White House. So this is what you can say instead of saying employment and career coaching for women. Our program offers what? Workforce development support for those facing systemic barriers to career advancement. We know you're talking about women. Providing career development services tailored to those who experience unique workforce challenges due to caregiving responsibilities, wage gaps, and systemic inequities, right? This is very important for you to get. So let me know in the chat. Give me a yes if you understand what I am doing. You are needing to tweak the language because at the end of the day, your job is to get the grant money. Even if you have to create two different mission statements, one with the Black boys and one with the underserved boys, your goal is to get the grant funding, even if you have to tweak that language a bit. Got it? All right, all right, all right, all right. Very good, very good. Now, let's get back to the basics. What do you need to know about grants? Grants are not paid back, like full stop. If you have that nonprofit, you will need your 501c3. That is your tax exempt charitable organization designation by the IRS. Now, it's only taking about 8 weeks to get it if you don't have yours, but you will need one. Now, I want everybody to look at this slide. This is the amount of grant funding being provided every year. The last great number we have is for 20 2023. This number is expected to increase for 2024 and 2025. Look at this number. This is from foundations and corporations. You don't see federal funding anywhere on this slide, right? This is the money that is being provided right now. Only, again, it will probably be more. $189 billion, billion would it be? This is the funding that is being distributed while we're thinking there is no grant money, right? This is what you're missing out on. And so I need for you to look at this number, but I don't want you to be intimidated. Too often, right? People see these large numbers and they think, oh, like Linda, there's no way I can get any of this money. I'm so smart. There's just no way. I need for you to focus on exactly what it is that you need, not the totality of the amount that's available. So right now, I want you to put into the chat right now. Yes, I just need a little bit. That's right, everybody, right now into the chat. I just need a little bit. You just need a little bit of $189 billion, right? You don't need it all. You're not trying to get it all. Focus on what you need. All right. That's right. Melissa, Tamika, are you trying to get all $189 billion? Manietta, are you trying to be greedy? Latanja, do you need all $189 billion? Or do you just need your slice? You just need your slice, right? This is a huge pie. This is a huge pie. You just need your slice. So focus on what you need. That's right. You just need a piece. Look, I'll take the crumbs. I'll take the crumbs that fall from $189 billion. All right. Now, let's talk about what you need to do to prepare to apply for grants. We haven't even gotten to the application yet. You are preparing. Download a software editing program onto your computer. I use Grammarly, and I am a professional writer, editor, and grant writer. I would not write without Grammarly. It is free, people. If you use Grammarly, give yourself some love in the chat right now. Why is this important? Because I do not want you submitting grant applications full of grammatical errors. And it's so easy to do. We all do it. It's free. It will literally self-correct as you write. So download Grammarly. Ah, Laura says, I love Grammarly. Yes, yes, yes. It is, I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. Dr. Karen says she uses Grammarly. People is free. Now there's a paid version, but the free version is fine. It is fine. All right. Because again, we don't want you submitting a grant application that has all of these grammatical errors in it. And by the way, that little article, the link is being placed in the chat. Be sure you are watching the chat because there are going to be some very important links put in the chat. This article, download it. It will help make you a better writer. Now, how else are you going to prepare? You're going to get those documents in order. Your EIN, your employer identification number. Nonprofits, you need that 501c3. Now, small businesses, are you legitimate? Do you have your articles of incorporation? Do you have your list of your board of directors? This is very important for nonprofits, especially because you know it's mandated that you have a board, right? All of you should be getting letters of support. It will strengthen your grant application. Drop names if you have to. Do you know the mayor? Do you know politicians? Have them write you letters of support, but they could also come from your pastor, your church, community leaders, right? And then if you are currently operating, you will absolutely need your financial statement. And that includes your balance sheet and your profit and loss statement. Now, all of you will need an operating budget. And I don't want you to freak out because I said operating budget, because all it is a document where you are listing what you believe your expenses are going to be over the course of a year. And you really do need to know approximately how much money is going to take for you to operate right in a year, because it will also help you to determine how much grant money you need. And you can literally download this template from the internet. All right. Now I'm in the application. I'm going to go through the typical components of a grant application and give you best practices so that you are writing this application as if you are doing what? Telling a story, because that's what a grant application is. It's a chance for you to tell your story. right? So let's start with the mission. It is everything. It is more than just what you do, how you do it, your aims and your goals, because your mission is going to lead you to the foundation that wants to give you funding because you need to align your mission to the mission of that foundation. So if you are laser focused on medical equipment, right? You want to make sure that that foundation funds medical equipment. This becomes critical. So if you don't have a mission, that's homework 101 for you. And it doesn't matter if you are a nonprofit or a small business, you need a mission statement. Now, this section here is what is going to separate your application from everybody else's. Because I want you all, as you are describing your organization, to think about one word: impact. Impact using real numbers. What has been the impact of your organization on the people that you serve? Using real numbers. Let's say you have a restaurant, right? You have an LLC. How many people do you serve a year? How many people do you employ, right? You give someone a job, you can change their life. Do you have any community events that you provide? Maybe you have a cooking school. How many people attend? You need to track your success, right? So that's a small business example. Let me give you a nonprofit example. Let's say you have a homeless ministry. How many homeless people do you place in shelters every year? And when they get into the shelter, what happens? Are they then able to get their GED? Are they then able to perhaps get a job or find permanent housing? Track your success. This is how funding is being given now. No longer is it good enough for you to say, I just want to help poor people. How are you helping? Use real numbers. Let's say you haven't opened. Let's say you are a startup. You still need to talk about impact and real numbers. Now you're going to project. So let's say you have a tutoring organization. You tutor high school kids. You haven't opened yet. You can write in the application, I project, right? I expect that when students complete my tutoring program, they will increase their reading scores by 5%. So whether you are currently open or whether you are going to open, you still need to write about impact using real numbers. Everybody got that? That's important. Impact is everything. It is everything. All right. And when you write, you make sure you are writing as if you are solving a problem or addressing an issue. It doesn't matter if you are a nonprofit or a small business. Small businesses oftentimes have trouble with these questions, but you have to ask yourself, why did you open? Why did you open? What was happening? What was the issue that you wanted to solve? Let's say you open a jewelry, an online jewelry company. There's a million of them. What is making yours different? Do you offer handmade jewelry? Maybe that's what is making yours different. You're solving the problem that a lot of people can't go to the internet and get handmade jewelry. Or maybe your jewelry is for people with sensitive skin. That's the problem. And yes, by the way, there are organizations that provide grants to people who open up jewelry stores, right? What is the issue? What is the problem that you're solving? Because whatever that issue is, it is going to lead you to the foundation that wants to give you funding. Because guess what? It may be in the same area where they are providing their grant money. That's why you have to know where and how foundations give. How do you find out? You go to their websites. Now, I know 90% of foundations don't have a website, but most of the ones that provide RFPs and the proposals do. And even if they don't, there are ways in which you can find information out about foundations without them having a website. All right. And, oh, here's a real issue. Target population. I've been a business coach for 16 years now. And when I ask my clients, who are you helping? Too often I get, oh, Linda, I help everybody. If they come my way, I feel like I have to help them. No, 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 no. You cannot help everybody. You have to niche down. This is one of the main issues I see. This is why organizations close. They're trying to help everybody. You should have one, maybe two target populations. Because if you tell me you help veterans, I'm going to ask you veterans who? Homeless veterans that need housing, veterans with PTSD that need mental health and wellness counseling. Niche down. The more you niche down, the more specific your target audience, the easier it will be for you to find grant money. So if you want to put maybe your target population in the chat, if I have a chance afterwards, I will give you some feedback. All right. One, maybe two. You cannot help everybody. That's how you get burnt out. All right. Now, you all have a decision to make. When you are seeking grant funding, are you seeking operating grants or program project grants? They're very different. Now, we love to get operating grant money. Why? Because when you get an operating grant, you decide where to put the funding. Operating grants are great for shoring up your infrastructure, allowing you to pay for your administrative cost, your operating cost. You can put that money towards your lease, staff, IT, right? Marketing. You decide. Most grants, however, have to go to a particular program or project. And even if you are a small business, you can still have a project or a program. Let's go back to the restaurant. Maybe she wants to open a delivery service. That could be a project. But whatever you do, always, always apply to multiple foundations. I want you to tell me why. Why do you think you have to apply to multiple foundations at all times? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Why do you think you must apply to multiple foundations? At the end of the day, people, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is a marathon. All right, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Why do you have to apply to multiple foundations? Anybody? Why? Why should you never just apply to one foundation for a grant? That's right, Dr. Karen. The more you apply, the greater your chances. And yes, is it the Rhea? Keeping your options open. Tamika increases your chances of getting more money. Brianna, more options. Also, it is because grants are not guaranteed. Do not let anybody tell you they can guarantee you grant money. That's how people get spammed or scammed. I see it on social media all the time. Oh, apply here. Everybody wins. Nobody's turned down. Just give me your money and I'll make sure you get grant funding. 99.9% of the time, they are scammers. So you have to be careful. Grants are not guaranteed. You have to continue to apply, right? This is not a one and done industry. All right. Now, let me talk to you about community partnerships because they are critical to your application. All of you, it doesn't matter if you are a solopreneur or if you are an S Corp, you need community partners. People, you can't do this by yourself. This is year 17 for me being in business. You cannot do this by yourself. And I'm not talking about an exchange of money, right, with a partnership. I'm speaking of community partnerships, well-respected organizations right in your backyard that can help you as you are attempting to get grant funding. Let's say you have an accounting firm, you want a grant, right? You could go to your local library once a month and give an hour tax talk. You're going to have a willing audience. Everybody wants to know how to save money, right? Why is this important when it comes to your grant application? One, this question is going to be on the grant application, right? So now you can complete it and say, look, I have the library as one of my partners. But even more than that, it will increase your level of visibility because some of you have great programs. Nobody knows about the program. Nobody knows about you, not even in your own backyard. But when you connect with community organizations, they increase your level of visibility because guess what? That library is going to promote your tax talk. And foundations are always looking to see who is doing what in their community. So when you approach that foundation for funding, they might remember, oh, that's the person that is the tax expert. They give tax talks at the libraries. This is so important because when it's a well-respected organization, guess what? They know where the money is in the community. and they can refer you and recommend you to other foundations. Let me make this super simple. Young lady has an ex-offender program, ex-offenders, right? She wants to make sure that when people are released from jail back into society, that they become successful members of the community and that they don't go back to jail. Everybody wants that recidivism rate to be low, right? That's the rate at which prisoners go back. Nobody wants that. Now, she has to interview the inmates before they are released from jail to make sure they qualify for her program. She has an ex-offender program. I want you to tell me in the chat, who should she be meeting with? Who should be her community partners? Who should she be meeting with? Let me know in the chat. Remember, she has to talk to the inmates before they are released. Make sure they qualify for the program. But think about this ex-offender program. She wants that person to be successful when they go back into the community. Who should she be meeting with? Who should be? There we go, Latanya. The local jail system. Absolutely. The warden, yes, she has to be able to meet with them to have access to the prisoners, right? And they need to know about her program because maybe they will pay for her program. Who else? Do you want the people to have jobs, right? When they get into society? What about workforce development programs? Do you know that a lot of organizations get paid handsomely to hire ex-offenders? That's right, Dr. Karen. The local job corps, so that they can be trained on a skill so that they're not committing some crime to go back to jail. Do they need somewhere to live? What about transitional housing, right? What about transitional housing? You don't want them to be homeless. So yes, oh yes, Latoya, probation officers, absolutely, absolutely. Public officials, because they often know of resources. Maybe the person is addicted and need some social service support. You see how we were able to come up with what, six, seven, eight different partners? This is not difficult. This is not difficult. Definitely, Dr. Karen, your education partnerships, because you want them to get a GED if they don't have one, so that they can have better access to what? Jobs. This is what you're going to do. This is your homework. I need for you to name 5 organizations that you are going to partner with based on your organization, your program, your service. I need for you to name not 5. That is your homework. Name 5. All right. And don't think you have to complete the partnership and have it be flourishing before you submit the grant application. You can literally put the name of the organization in the grant and say, these are the organizations I'm going to be targeting, right, for partnerships. Okay. Now we're on to the money. This is the grant budget. This is how you are going to explain your use of the grant funding. Whatever you do, itemize your expenses. You want to hire an executive director, you need a $50,000 grant. You can't just say, I need 50 grand in the grant application. Be specific. Is it a contracted person? What is the hourly rate? How many hours will the person work a week? How many weeks out of the year? You need supplies with your grant funding? How many? And who's using the supplies? And here's a tip for you all. When you create the budget narrative, that is your explanation of how you're using the grant funding, always connected back to the goal of the program. Excuse me. So, for example, connect the money that you're seeking in that grant back to your mission and the mission of the foundation, always, so that they know if they give you grant money, they're upholding their mission. All right, got it? Now, the budget, the numbers, usually they go into an Excel file, but the budget narrative, that's usually a Word document. Got it? Now, I know some of you are thinking, Linda, this doesn't sound too bad, but I don't have time for this. I don't have time to write these grants. I don't have time to write these grants. Remember what I said to you at the beginning, that some grant applications are 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. They are. And AI will give you your time back. That I can promise you. It will give you your time back. If you're using ChatGPT, we'll talk a little bit about it in a few minutes. or it will give you your time back. It is remarkable, but you must be careful how you use it. All right. And so for those of you who are thinking, I don't think I have time for this, I have a question for you, and I would like an answer in the chat. Do you have time to get free money? Do you have time to get free money? Let me see in the chat if anybody has time to get free money. I don't think anybody has time to get. I'm saying I sure do. I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes, ma'am. I'm saying yes, yes, yes. I'm saying absolutely. So it sounds like you've got time to get free money. So if you've got, that's right, Laura, let's go. All right. So if you've got time to get free money, I need for you to spend just a little time on the process, to get the free money. What are you going to do? This is the slide here. If you don't take anything else away from this webinar, this is it. This is the slide. This is often the main factor as to whether or not you get the grant. Did you meet with the foundation? Did you meet with the foundation before you submitted the grant application? You need to build this relationship. People, getting grant funding is not a money grab. It is about you building a relationship for the long term. This is the long game. This is the long game, right? Meet with the foundation. They want to meet with you. They're considering giving you their grant funding. You want to meet with them because guess what? In that meeting, they often share information with you about the grant and give you insights about the grant that is not on their website. I probably set up 1,000 of these meetings in the last 17 years. I always remember one. I always talk about it. 30-minute Zoom meeting, client got $30,000. Why? Because the mission's aligned. The mission's aligned. And yes, I said Zoom meeting. These are Zoom meetings, people. 30-minute Zoom meetings. Now, if you live in close proximity to the foundation, you meet with them in person. If not, this is a Zoom meeting because remember, you're not just applying locally, you are applying to grants all over the country, right? Zoom meetings. And this is how you set up the meeting. You send an email. You introduce yourself in the email. You introduce your organization. You align your mission and your service or your project or your program to where they're funding so that they know there's a match. What you're not going to do is ask for money in that email. Never ask for grant funding in the email. It is almost like you're asking for a rejection letter because you're going to get one. You set up the meeting. In the meeting, you ask for the money. Got that? All right. Now, it's time to find the money. Grant research, that's what you're going to do. Now, Google is fine, but I need for you to use a portal that is literally set up specifically for grants. The Foundation Directory Online is the leading source of information in the US on grants. Now, they give you the names of organizations that will fund your program. So if you're in Nashville and you have a program where you are serving veterans, you want to get them into transitional housing, you put that information into FDO. They will give you a list of organizations that fund that type of a program. $50 a month to subscribe, or totally free access at your local library. All right. Grants.gov, believe it or not, there are still some federal grants available. The Lilly Foundation. Do you know that churches and faith-based organizations absolutely get grant funding? There's a worship grant I know of right now, a worship grant funded by the Lilly Foundation. And Walmart gives to churches, right? Grant Watch. I love Grant Watch because they will give you the actual grant opening, the synopsis of the grant, a link to the application, the sponsorship information, the contact information, $20 a week or $200 for the entire year. Grant Station, I love because I think they do one of the best jobs of really allowing you to focus on what your area of interest is. And they also provide a lot of really great training. UrbanawarenessUSA.org, they are Black owned. They are fantastic. They probably drop information on 2 or 3 grants every week. Sign up for their free newsletter. Tell them Linda sent you. They're fabulous. All right. Now, I want to show you how you conduct this grant research really quickly. This is Grant Station. It's $200 for the whole year. Look to my right where it says areas of interest. Every block you see, there's probably 10 to 15 drop-down blocks. So where you see religion and ethics, there's probably 10 blocks. Social services, 10 more blocks. Then you put in your target population. Who are you helping? People who've aged out of foster care, veterans, right? The homeless. Input your information, your location, press a button, you get a list of grants. Now, let me say something to all of you about location, because many of you leave money on the table. Don't be seduced by these $2 and $3 million government grants. They're very difficult to get, those federal grants. Start local, especially now that we know it's the local community foundations and local corporations that are increasing the grant money. Start local. Start in your own backyard. It's easier to get local grant money. But whatever you do, don't disregard the national grant makers, because you could be in Texas and get funded by an organization in Connecticut. And for my global community, this is absolutely for you as well. This includes seeking international grants. You could live in the US and serve a population in Kenya and get grant money. You could be in Kenya and serve a population in Zimbabwe and get grant money. All right. This is not just for US-based organizations. All right. So this happens to be Grant Station. Now, I want to give you this list of grants just so that you see, even given all of this noise out in the world about grants and what's available and what isn't, there are still grants geared towards you as a Black organization. You have to know how to find them. And I absolutely recommend that if you are going to be seeking grants, please do so in a community where you can get the help that you need, where you can get your questions answered, and you can get support, because that's how people stop. That's why people give up. That's why people they totally get frustrated and stop the grant search because they don't know where to look. They've applied for grants, they've been rejected, they don't know what to do when they get rejected. They've wasted a lot of time applying for grants that they should never even apply to. Be in a community where you can get support. I won't go through all of these. Operation Hope, John Hope Bryant, he's wanting to help build 1 million Black businesses. He's at 400,000. LISC, they fly under the radar screen, but they've given over $1 billion to communities of color. Amber Grants for Women, they give away $30,000 every single month. Shea Moisture, are you opening up a hair care salon? That grant opens every year. The Ford Foundation, are you creating a film about the Black experience? They have a grant for you. Amarillo, they focus on super small organizations there in Texas. Because some of you might be thinking, Linda, like, this is not for me. I'm just too small. I'm a solopreneur. Solopreneurs get grant funding. Or you might say, I don't even have an organizational chart. I don't pay anyone. I can't even pay myself. All volunteer nonprofits get grant funding. Black churches get grant funding. HBCUs get grant money. You have to be in this game, right? Are you a startup? There's grant money for you as a startup. Let me go back to Amber Grants for Women, because this is really remarkable, because with most startups, they want you to at least to have started. Amber Grants for Women will give you $10,000 for your idea. You don't even need to have made a penny, right? So yes, there are startup grants, all right? Now, all of you, into the chat, I want to know the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about banks and money. Banks and money. Let me know in the chat. Banks and money. Banks and money. Stingy, yes. Yes. What else? What else? Banks and money, fees, scams, some of them, unfortunately. Loans, fees, loans and fees hard to come by. Let me clue you in. Banks are some of the largest providers of grant money in the world. Grant money, not loans, grant money. You haven't been going to the right person. It's not your branch manager. It's not your loan officer. Usually it's a VP of economic development, a VP of community reinvestment. And yes, banks give to small businesses as well as nonprofits. This is why you have to be in a community that can give you the information of what's really going on, right? Now, I'm going to give you four hot leads. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, TD Banks, Truist. Bank of America and Wells Fargo separately each give over $120 million in grants every year, right? I'm in Ohio. One of the largest foundations in Ohio is the Key Bank Foundation. I'm here to tell you that this grant money is coming from so many other resources outside of the federal government. All right. This is so important for you to know and to share. Remember, I want you to promise me you're going to share this information with other Black organizations. Now, let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT. It is remarkable. If you are going to be using it to write grants, good for you. Be careful. It is not a replacement, it is a tool. It can rewrite, it can expand, it can research, it can help you to write faster and better. But at the end of the day, you have to feed it. You have to feed AI information about your organization, and nobody knows more about your organization than you. And that's why you can't get around needing to at least understand how to write the basics about your organization, your mission, your vision, your history, your target population, your need statement, your impact statement, your service or your program, and why it's different. And then you feed that into AI and you let it do its magic. And that's where my bonus surprise comes in, because I now have a course that will teach you how to do this. This is how I won over $18 million. I put it in a course. You've got to be able to understand how you write, just the basics. And then you can put that into ChatGPT, right? So your secret weapon is going to be me, because I'm going to serve as your grant coach when you take this course. Now, the course will teach you how to write every part of a grant application. It will also teach you how to do that research we were talking about. But here's where the coaching comes in. Let's say you set up the meeting with the foundation. Do you know what to say? Do you know how to say it? Do you know what you never leave that meeting without knowing? You come into our private Facebook group and you ask, and you get real answers. I'm in there often, but you will get the support and the help that you need, right? You create your grant budget. Do you know how much money you should be asking for? Keep in mind, many foundations, especially the community foundations, they don't give you an amount. They don't tell you the amount of the grant. They ask you, what do you need? But what you can't do is go in there and say, oh, I need $1 million, right? No, you have to know what to ask for and to be conservative. You come into the Facebook group, you let us know, I'm getting ready to meet. Linda, help me. And you'll get the help, right? And every single lesson in this course is a discussion starter where you can ask a question that comes directly to me and I will answer it. All right. Now, you get 12 modules, you get 35 lessons, and then videos, because they are visual learners as well. But here's what's different and special about this course, because for the last 17 years, I've been in this industry. I've been hired to create grant applications and create the grant questions. So when you are in my course, you are literally completing an in-depth grant application, so that when you are done, you have this beautiful in-depth grant template that you're now going to use to apply for grant after grant after grant. And this is why it makes it easier and faster, because you're doing the work here, but you have help, right? You have support. And then I give you winning grants so that you see what's being funded and you see what a winning grant looks like. Every grant in this course I wrote, and every grant won money. And because I want you to be successful, I give you a list of over 600 funders. And I talked about the Facebook group. It is everything because this is the community that you need. And the Facebook group is about collaboration. It's not about competition. The students, I tell you, they drop more. I say this all the time. They drop more grants than I do. And we drop a lot of grants in the Facebook group. But everybody wants everybody else to win. This is that community. But because I want you to be successful, I give you an hour of group coaching, and that's every month. Every month. Get you unstuck, answer your questions, see how you need help. Because we are about you not just writing a bunch of grant applications, but placing yourself in a position to actually start winning grant funding, right? Now, I want you all to look at these numbers. I've had my course audited 3 times, and this is the value of the course. But the cost of my course to you is a fraction of what you see because I am intentional about making sure that what I provide isn't another hurdle for you getting grant funding. So I am intentional about making sure that I provide this course literally at as low of a cost as I possibly can. I certainly have other, higher ticket items, but this course is winning organizations money. And therefore, I keep it low so that there isn't some barrier. Now, because of the audits, the 12 modules and the 35 lessons, they're worth $3,549. The videos are worth $599. 600 funders, that list, $599, which keeps increasing. The workbooks, planners, grant trackers, $350. That's not what you're paying, though. What I don't want you to do is be confused. It's a $5,000 course audited by 3 different organizations, $5,000 grant writing course. The price is $997. I reduced it to $497 because I know what's going on. I know you need help. And there have been so many hurdles and barriers and boulders put in your way. I reduced the price. But also, guess what? You hopped on this call. I know you could have been somewhere else at 7 o'clock tonight. So take $200 off and get everything for $297. That's not a monthly payment. That's one payment for everything I talked about. The course, the Facebook group, the group coaching, you can get it for $297. I told you I was not going to be another barrier to you getting the help that you need. Make sure you use the code. The code is what will get you the $200 off, AUG21. And if you need more help, you need a payment plan. We have a 2-month payment plan. It's $175 a month for 2 months. You still need the code, but put a T on the end of it for 2-month payment plan, AUG21T. And you read right at the end, the course never expires. Now, most courses, what? You get them for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I said at the beginning, I was here to help you. I am convinced that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, right? So the course never expires. You need help always, you'll get help always. All right. You get the course, the Facebook group, the coaching, write everything off is tax deductible. So yes, you're getting a $5,000 course. You're paying $297. You're writing it off because it is a tax deduction. It is an educational expense and it is a business expense. And yes, you even get a certificate of completion when you are done. All right. The link is in the chat. If you are interested in the course, excuse me, the link is in the chat. All right. Now, for those of you who are ready for something a little bit more intense, I have a boot camp. It's a 2-day boot camp, 7 hours a day with me privately for 2 days, 14 hours together we are going to spend. And in those 14 hours, by the time we are done, you are going to have completed a grant application. You will have your grant template. You will have a large list of local and national funders. You will have your implementation plan. I will have taught you how to use AI to write your grants. 2 days, 7 hours a day. Keisha had never written a grant in her life before. She took the boot camp. 6 weeks later, she had her first grant. Have to get this right. 6 weeks later, she had her first grant. 2 weeks after that, she won $100,000 grant. Had never written a grant before in her life. There she is, Keisha Credit, right? Then that's the boot camp. That's $1,997 or two payments of $1,249. You get literally over $11,000 worth of materials. And that's a private session with me for 2 days. For 2 days. All right. And it comes with the course. You get the course included. So if you're interested, send me an email. We can set up a date because I only spend so much time. I only black out a few days out of the month for the boot camps. All right. Now, these people only spent $300, not even $300 for the course, and this is what they got. Nicola is not a professional grant writer. In June, she won $250,000. Her grant application was only for $50,000, but it was so well written because she took the course. The organization said, wait a minute, we need for you to implement this in other locations. Here's a counter offer. Here's $250,000. She was not a professional grant writer. And by the way, she has a for-profit. For those of you who are thinking that for-profits don't get grants, she has a for-profit. All right. Whitney won $200,000 in 1 year. She did exactly what I'm asking you to do. She started local. She went to her utility company. Do you know that your major utility companies, they have grant funding? Yes. They gave her $40,000. She has a doula organization. Then I said, what? Go national. She went national. National Birth Equity Collaborative gave her $50,000. Kanisha won $100,000 earlier this year. This is while we are in the midst of all of this misinformation about there are no grants. These are Black organizations winning six-figure grants, not now, right now. Kimberly won $84,000 last month. Cherie, $11,000, right? There's a formula that I've created. There's a structure, a framework that I've created after having won $18 million, and they're following it. It's the course and the coaching and the Facebook group. Tranquility Point Therapeutic, they have a massage company that won $20,000. It matters sometimes less what you do, but more of learning where the money is available. As long as you are providing a legal service, there's grant funding available. It's about how you find it. Where do you look for it? How do you place yourself in position to get it? Christina has an online educational firm. Online, you don't need a brick and mortar. You can have an online organization, have an online presence and get grant funding. Don't these people look like us? These are all my clients. They're all in the Facebook group. Now, here's your bonus. Bonus number one. You have 3 days to use the code to get your $200 off. And by the way, most people don't even have a code. You have a huge code. Buy the course by Sunday, and you get my AI guide. I wrote the AI grant guide, 10 steps to easier and faster grant writing. It includes my tutorial, my video tutorial. I literally show you how to use AI to write grants much faster because you know it's all about the prompts. I give you over 50 prompts. You're going to get it free. You're going to get it free. Bonus number two. Have you heard of the U.S. Black Chambers? They're the lead organization for the Black Chamber of Commerce organizations that are all throughout the country. They have what's called a Buy Black grant list. It's a list that has been cultivated for Black businesses and Black-led nonprofits. It's $200 to subscribe. I'm going to give you the latest edition if you buy this course today. If you buy it today, you get the latest version of it. Their Buy Black list. All right. One last thing. I need to invite you to my Grant State of the Union. Please, whatever you do, be on this call. It is next Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. I'm going to do a deep dive into the state of grants. I'm going to be showing you how do you use AI, right? We're going to be talking more about AI because this is at least a 2 hour session. We typically go for 3 hours. You don't have to stay for the entire time, but I'm doing a deep dive. You get to ask far more questions. However, if you want to attend, please register because there will be hundreds of people on the call. There always is, right? So if you want to register and get your seat, please do so now because the seats are limited. All right. I'm putting the link in the chat. All right. All right. We're done. It's Q&A time. It is Q&A time. I see some great questions. I see some great questions. All right. All right. All right. Now, really quickly, for those of you who are asking, I'm going to show you how to buy the course really quickly. Let me get here fast, fast, fast. For those of you who are asking, I am going to share my screen. Then we're going to do the Q&A. There we go. To buy the course, when you hit the link in the chat, you're going to see this page here. I want you to press $4.97 purchase now because you have a $200 coupon. Remember I said most people pay $4.97? You have a coupon. I'm doing this live, by the way. Input your coupon is AUG21. Apply the coupon. It takes off $200. You're paying $2.97. Now, you see this little block. Let me scroll down. This little block here, if you want to meet with me privately for a 1 hour strategy session, I do get you together because by the end of that hour, you will leave with complete clarity. You may have 10 different ideas up here. You'll leave with one. Because before we even talk about grants, I'm going to go through your mission and your infrastructure and your service and your program. And then you even leave with a little list, little mini list of grants. It's $497 for the hour. You get the video and you get the session notes. The only time you will see it reduced to $247 is if you buy it with the course. Then you can get it for $247. All right. So if you want the private VIP session with me, that's a private session, that's $247. You add it here. If you don't want it, you don't have to add it. But here's a bonus for all of you. We offer buy now, pay later. Yes, we do. Even for these smaller amounts, we offer buy now, pay later. So if you're interested, when you go to buy the course, I'm going to move this out of the way. When you go to buy the course, in the payment method block, you may need to keep hitting pay another way until you see Affirm come up. When you see Affirm, that's it. You can hit Affirm, or in the little drop down here, you can hit Afterpay or Klarna. Those are the three buy now, pay later choices. 4 months, same as cash. Yes, 4 months, same as cash. That means you're paying about $75 a month for 4 months to be in this community that will help you to finally get funded. I don't even know of a $75 grant. So once you get grant money, we'll pay for everything. But if you don't want the buy now, pay later, you don't have to. We'll take a credit card. We will take Google Pay, Cash Out Pay, and PayPal. All right. Now, I mentioned before, we have our own little payment plan, right? It's $175 a month for 2 months, but everybody else is paying $275 a month for 2 months because you have a coupon. Remember, hit 2 times 275, input your code AUG21 with that little T for 2-month payment plan, hit apply, $175 a month for 2 months, and then you're done. And yes, you can add on the private coaching. All right, wanted to make sure to answer your question, I got that done. I am going to the Q&A, but before we go to the Q&A, one last thing I need for you to do for you, not for me. Do this for you, not for me, because I know how it is. I know it is so easy to procrastinate. I believe in manifestation. I believe in getting it out of you, writing it down. Everybody right now, before you leave this space, I need for you to write into this chat, I am ready to get grant money. I just need for you to write that. I am ready to get grant money because it has to start up here. It has to start up here. People Do not be afraid of this because your success is on the other side of your fear. You will have me serving as your coach, holding your hand through this process. My colleagues charge $2,000 for their course, for their grant writing course, and you get no access to them. All right. I'm giving you some access to me so that you can be successful. And for those of you who buy this course, I'm going to do something extra for you. When you get into the Facebook group, first of all, you're going to get 3 emails when you buy the course. One will be a link to the course, your username and your password. The other one will be the link to the Facebook group and then a welcome email. When you get into the Facebook group, I'm going to ask you for a synopsis of your organization. Give me one, like 3 or 4 sentences, and I'm going to give you a few links based on your program so that you can get off to a good start. I will do that for you. All right? Because I want you to win. There are people waiting on what it is that you have inside to come out, right? Waiting on your service, waiting on your program, waiting on your project. You are probably waiting on you to move forward. That's what I'm talking about. I'm ready to get grant money, Dr. Karen, Katrina, Jamisha, Tamika, write this into the chat. This is not for me. You're doing this for you. Jessica, Demetra, Melissa, I'm ready to get grant money, right? Be ready. We know the money is available. Learn how to get it. All right? Q&A. I'm starting in the Q&A box and then I'm going to go over to the chat. What is the average time frame from the time you apply to funding? It is 3 months. It is 3 months. Now, there are times when the timing is less. So let's say the deadline is March 31st and you submit your application March 15th, right? You've got it in on time. Let's say the board of directors are meeting, within a month of the deadline. That's typical. That if it's a community foundation, usually the boards decide, so they'll meet within a month of the deadline. So that means from the time you apply, that's not going to be 3 months. But typically, it's a 3-month window. Now, there are times when you can get the money faster. Some community foundations have what's called discretionary funding. I have received this funding for clients before where they need money immediately, maybe to keep the lights on or to keep the program running. You go to your local community foundation, and oftentimes they will have what's called discretionary funding. It's a lesser amount, so you don't go through the normal steps of going before the board or whatever the normal grant process is because it's a smaller amount of money. Usually, sometimes if you ask for like less than $10,000, less than $5,000. And oftentimes the program director will have the ability to approve those smaller grants if you go through local community foundations. I've seen that happen. All right. All right. Let me go over to the webinar chat. Melissa, if you could drop my email address into the chat. I want all of you to put my email address onto your email contact list because I don't want the email that you're going to get with the replay and the codes going into your spam. So make sure, all right, make sure that you have my email address because that's where you're going to get the replay. And that's where you're going to get for the next 3 days, your links and your codes to get the course. You got 3 days to take the $200 off of this course and get it for only $297, right? All right. I'm going to scroll down slowly because I know I did see questions and I'm going to get to all of them. Let's see. All right. And there's still time. There's still time. Do small business owners need a board of directors? Great question. No, that's not a necessity. The necessity is when you have a nonprofit. It is a requirement that you have a board of directors as a nonprofit. It is not a requirement if you are a small business. Now, it's always a good idea to have a board. I always recommend a board, at least an advisory board, but it is a requirement. It is mandated if you are a nonprofit. All right. What if you just started out? I covered that. There are startup grants. There are absolutely startup grants. Sex offenders, homeless, you have to clarify that. I think you were putting in your target population, so clarify to me who it is that you are focusing on. Are you talking about people who have been victimized or the homeless? Let me know where you're focused. Let me know who your target population is. Even if you are hosting an event in the community on your own to get exposure, absolutely. Always, always, always. This is why it is so important in your own community to use social media, to use the outlets that are available to you to let the community know what you're doing. Because when you go in, excuse me, when you go into that foundation and ask for that grant, and you've been doing work in the community and you've been visible in the community, you want them to know, oh, okay, we've heard of your program. We're familiar with what you're doing in the community. It's so important. The community partnerships, plus keep in mind, when you are partnering with a well-respected community partner, they know where the money is. They know where the money in the community is, right? They can refer you. They can recommend you to different foundations in the local community area. All right. All right. Questions, questions. You can still drop your question into the chat. These are some of the largest grant applications. Be prepared. Which are some of the largest grant applications? Which ones are you referring to? The ones from banks? Which ones are you referring to? You will have to meet with the bank. But keep in mind, or I don't know if this is what you were talking about, Laura. Keep in mind, this is a bank. So they are going to be all about you having the correct financials. So yes, you will need your financial statement, which you should have anyway, your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement. They're going to be, pretty insistent upon that. All right. Someone said they love Truist. Truist is amazing. Truist provides grants to small businesses and nonprofits. Bank of America, nonprofits and small businesses. I think Wells Fargo. What's great about Wells Fargo is that not only do they have their own foundation, but they are the grant administrators for hundreds of other foundations. Hundreds of other foundations. So, yes, you should be targeting Wells Fargo for a number of reasons. All right, let's see. You probably ordered that kit. So if you ordered that kit, which would be the either the $1 million grant roadmap, or maybe it also included the grant kit and then the little AI guide, check your spam. Check your spam folder and your email, and then send us an email. If it's not in there, send us an email and we will send you that package, that little kit. All right. Can they tell if you use AI? That's such a great question. Do you know? This is why I say you have to be careful. There are software packages now that can detect if you only use AI. Like if you didn't even write anything, you just use AI to write you some information about a grant to try to help you complete this grant application. You didn't feed it, you didn't give it prompts. You just, yes, there are software packages that can detect that. That's why I said there is no getting around you learning how to do this, you learning how to write, and then feed it into AI. So it has your language. This is how you protect yourself because you're using your original wording. You're using your original wording, and then AI is perfecting that wording. And that makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. So it's not going to be able to detect, right? that you only use AI because you've used your original language, you've used your original words. So that's why you have to learn how to do the writing. And then you feed it into AI, right? And you let AI help you. So, for example, if the grant application is asking for 500 words for you to answer the question, 500 words, you're verbose, you create 750 words. Feed that into ChatGPT and tell it to create the answer using 500 words and using the absolutely most compelling components of your 750 word answer. That's just one use. There are many uses of AI. All right. Jamisha, send me an email. All right, let's see. That's right, Jamisha. I'm ready to get my grant money. Like, claim this. We see the money is available. All of those testimonials, didn't they look like us? Those people are in the Facebook group. These are Black organizations right now getting six-figure grants right now. When out in the community, people are thinking there are no grants, right? And Black organizations are getting six-figure grants right now. You have to know where to look and how to look. This is why I implore you to be in a community where you can just get the right answers, right? And that's why I said at the beginning, share this information. You'll get the replay. Share this information. Melissa, if you could drop my registration email, you come to the Grand State of the Union, have them come to the Grand State of the Union, right? Plus, I do give other webinars geared solely for Black audiences. And if you could drop that Black grants link into the chat, Melissa, that would be great. And let's give Melissa some love. Melissa is in Zimbabwe. So it's pretty early in the morning right now. I help the mentally disabled, veterans, and the elderly with housing, rides to the doctor, and meals. That is a lot. I would say focus. I would say focus. Who is your predominant target that needs your help? And what is the help that they need? Do they need housing? Do they need rides to the doctor? And do they need meals? Those are three totally different grant categories. Totally different. Affordable housing is a huge area for grants. I can tell you banks love to give funding in affordable housing. I did work for Habitat for Humanity, so I'm pretty well versed on grants for affordable housing. That's a completely separate category. And also rides to the doctor. Now that's transportation, right? And then you want to make sure that they have meals, right? So that's part of what we call three basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. So the shelter and the food. Those are areas that foundations, especially community foundations, fund. But in order for you to be truly successful, you need to focus and do one thing super well, right? Because you could be really great at the affordable housing. It doesn't mean that people don't need the rides to the doctor and the people don't need the meals, but you refer them to other organizations that can get them their meals and that can get them their rides to the doctor. Because I'm talking to all of you now. The more you pile on, the more programs you try to offer, the less effective you will be, the more you dilute your effectiveness because you can't do everything. You can't do everything. Focus. Who is your predominant audience and what is their need? And focus on doing that super well and refer them to everybody else who's doing that piece of it very well. You will serve your clients better. All right. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? You have until Sunday if you want the course. Remember, you can write it off. I hope to see you in the Facebook group. Remember, if you come into the Facebook group, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to ask you for a synopsis. And then when you give it to me, I'm going to give you some links based on your organization so that you can get off to a really, really, really good start. And share this information, share the links. Don't keep this to yourself. There are other Black organizations that need to hear this. You know of them. Like this is a community, right? We have got to support each other. All right. So I want to thank you so much for hopping on because again, I know you could have been elsewhere. I know you could have been elsewhere. So thank you, thank you, thank you for coming here. My name is Linda Peavy, creator of the course Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals, and founder of Lapov Consulting. So hopefully I will see you in the course this week so that I can start to help you get the grant money that you need. All right. And if you are interested in the boot camp, send me an email. We can set up a date. Again, I don't have a lot of those dates available, but we will set up a date for your 2 days, right? Um, and then I also provide grant coaching if you're interested in ongoing coaching so that you can be accountable, right, to me for the work that you should be doing. I also provide grant coaching. I also review grant applications. I do not write grants. I review grant applications. If you are absolutely positively seeking a grant writer, I have partners. All right. So my email address is in the chat, hello@grantwritingfornonwriters.com. I want to thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been edifying. I hope this has been encouraging to you because I want you to know that the money is available. You cannot stop because you are needed. You are needed, right? You are needed. You cannot stop. You are needed. All right. So thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you soon and have a safe evening and a blessed evening and a safe and truly blessed weekend. All right. And hopefully I'll see you next week at the Grant State of the Union. All right. And in the course. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye.